Hello friends. I regret to inform you that my time in Tibet has come to an end. I spent 2 magical weeks there. A lot of people only spend about a week there, and they move a lot. Like, it's quite uncommon for someone to spend like a week in Lhasa alone. If people are doing, so Lhasa being the capital of Tibet, if people are staying in Lhasa, normally 4 days is what they stay in, like these tour groups. And I did a lot of research before going. These tour groups that have 4 days, you know, you got to go here, 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 and boom, that's it. You've seen everything. Time to go. But what I did is, like, I booked a tour in for the first half, or for 8 days, to go up high, to high altitudes, to Shigatse, to the farm stay, to Lake Napso. But I pulled the pin on it. I couldn't do it. It was just too scary for me with my altitude sickness. I just thought, no, I'm not doing it. It doesn't sound enjoyable. So I spent those 8 days in Lhasa, and then the next 6 days was just to be in Lhasa, so I could just immerse myself in the culture. So I ended up having 14 days, and yeah, and I was lucky to do that. So I went to the museum, the Tibetan Museum. That was very interesting. I liked that. One of my favourite things that I did, so I went to the summer palace of the current Dalai Lama, the 14th Dalai Lama. That was really nice. It's big gardens, and there's a few different sort of palaces in there. You don't need to climb up high. It's only like 2 stories and three stories, and these buildings. So yeah, not up high on the sides of mountains, and then another 13 floors up. But the summer palace, so the Dalai Lama lived there, or the 14th Dalai Lama lived there for 3 years before he fled Tibet. I could feel him. I could feel his energy everywhere. It was very beautiful to be there, to be immersed in that. What else did I do? I went to some monasteries. I did some koras. So a kora is when you do, like, you walk around a sacred site. You do a kora of it. And so I did that of the Shokan temple. So that houses a statue of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And I did it at the Patala Palace a few times. Like, I'm not sure that a lot of tourists do it. I think maybe by accident, but you know, I did a whole bunch of them, and it was great. Like, I felt like with the Shokan temple, it's a lot smaller than Patala Palace. I felt like we're all in a whirlpool. You know, you just sort of get caught up and you go around. But it was a nice energy. It was nice to do it. And just every lap that I did of the Shokan temple, I was just thinking, like, why do we do this? Why do these people do it? And I'm thinking it's like walking meditation. With walking meditation, I learnt about it from my connection with Plum Village. So that's the monastery I went and stayed at last year. So in their tradition, they teach a lot of walking meditation, you know, walking in silence and stillness. You do it together, but you do it quietly. And so I was thinking, with these koras, is that part of it, to really connect with the depth of who we are and the stillness? And if we can connect in those places, we can connect with everything. And I think it is, but these people that I was seeing, or these Buddhists that I was seeing doing these koras, they weren't doing it quietly. Everyone's talking and chatting and running around. It's not running, but so I feel like, I don't know, maybe whilst they are honouring the tradition of the kora, like, maybe they could do it a little bit quieter. But you know, who am I to tell them what to do? I've never stayed somewhere that was so religious, and I'm so drawn to Buddhism. I've been practicing Buddhism for the last couple of years, along with some other religious traditions. And I think subconsciously I was hoping to walk into, like, this center of enlightenment. Like, I think that's what I was hoping for, and I was disappointed. Like, it's nice and it's peaceful and the energy feels lovely indeed, and there's a warmth there. A warmth there that I wasn't sure would be, given the history with the Chinese and the Tibetan people. But yeah, definitely peaceful and warm. But then, like, I had the chance to speak to a number of different Tibetans, and all the ones I spoke to were practicing Buddhists. We've got shrines in their houses. That sort of blew me away. Along with doing these koras and just being mindful, I guess. But I spoke to these different Buddhists, and when I'd ask questions like, does the Buddha talk to you? I got laughed at. I was like, oh, okay. And then I asked some people about enlightenment, and it's clear to me that it's for another lifetime. It's like these Tibetan Buddhists thought it was a bit far-fetched for the Buddha to talk to someone or to reach enlightenment in this life. They're not going to get to enlightenment if they don't even think it's possible. And it's just like, why don't they think they can hear from the Buddha? Why don't they think the Buddha can talk to them? Like strong believers in reincarnation, dead is not dead. It's just you continue, you move on, you go, you come back, or you don't. Like, why is it so far-fetched to hear from the Buddha? Oh, that made me chuckle. It really did. But it's like I've been to a lot of churches in the last 2 years, and I ask Christians if Jesus comes to them, or they know when Jesus is around, if Jesus talks to them. 99% of them say no as well. All right. So yeah, I connect with Jesus, and I connect with the Buddha. And I think it happens just because I know it's possible, because my mind has been opened so much that I know it's possible. So I've been thinking, it's like perhaps if from young children we were taught, and obviously no one's taught the same stuff in every country, but maybe some stuff we should be, right? I wonder if everyone was taught from a young age that, well, of course you hear from the people that have gone before us. Of course we hear from our loved ones. They're just in a different dimension. Like if you just got to make sure you're on a clear enough frequency, and you'll be able to speak with them, maybe see them, maybe smell them. So that happens sometimes. Like ages ago, I'd smell marijuana when no one's around and no one's smoking. It's just like, oh, hi brother, nice to know you're around. And stuff like that happens, and it's cool. And I'm not the only one it happens to, but it just doesn't happen to enough of us, I think. And so perhaps instead of being taught people are dead and so you can't hear from them, it's over, perhaps there's a mass teaching, people have gone before us, and of course you can hear from them. And people wouldn't laugh when I say, does Jesus talk to you? And do you see the Buddha? I feel for them that they don't, but it's sort of their own fault. And it's not their own fault as well. They've got to open their minds up to allow it in. What else did Tibet teach me? Sort of broke me apart while I was there too. Yeah. It was real hard those first few days. Getting to Tibet was quite scary, just thinking I wouldn't be able to breathe. And then when I was there, and I struggled so much just to walk around, and how my heart felt. I could feel my heart beating so fast, and I'm just not used to. And the idea of climbing the Potala Palace, like that was on top of my to-do list. I wanted to do it like twice because I was going to be there for so long. I didn't know how hard it was going to be to climb. So I was really having quite a mental struggle with that. And then once I pulled the pin on it, I was reassured from my spiritual team that I don't have to do it. That was nice. That took the pressure off, because I thought I had to do it. I got to go. I got to connect with that energy. But once I was given that guidance, I just was relieved, just like, I can't do it, I really can't do it. And then after I'd made that decision, I learnt how many ladders are in the Potala Palace, and like they're steep and they're rickety. Well, maybe not rickety, that's my stories, but they're ladders steep and wooden in close spaces. I fucking hate that shit. And I hate it, and I especially hate it when there's lots of people around. Like I feel like I can't breathe and it's all gonna break. And so once I learned about those, it's just like I definitely made the right decision not to climb it. But it was hard to get to that decision because I thought I was letting myself down. I had these expectations in my head, I had these plans. And it's just like, oh, what am I even doing here if I'm not even gonna do that? So that was hard. Yeah. I think I covered that anyways in an earlier video, but I just wanted to stress how much the energy did. It broke me apart. But with every breaking, and I've been through a number of them, it's all about just releasing some of the old stuff. It's the shedding of the old. Like, It's like a snake. A snake sheds its skin to make way for the new. I think some of us are frightened to break apart, and whilst it is not one of my favourite things, I understand the importance of it. I've seen the benefits time and time again. When I break apart, I blossom some more. Tibet kicks my ass, and I'm real grateful for it. I now feel deeply connected to the Tibetan people. Never again can you take Tibet out of the girl, and I am so, so grateful. Leaving Tibet was incredibly emotional for me. Like, I've travelled to 20 countries, and most of them only in like the last year and a half. But I've done some travelling, and like, when I leave, I'm good to leave. I'm ready to go. It's fine. I'll come back, or like, it's time to go. But with Tibet, it was just different. Like, I don't think I'm going to be back again whilst remaining in this human incarnation. And like, when I was there, it was hard to leave. So I'm real thankful for my 2 weeks in Lhasa. I'm glad that I wasn't running around trying to fit in as much as possible, going to the different towns and places, and that I really got to go slowly in like the center of, that I got to go slowly in Lhasa and connect more deeply with the energies there. I thoroughly enjoyed being in an incredibly religious town full of all these Buddhists. And I commend them. I think they're doing great. I think their spiritual practices are impressive with what they do. But I would encourage them to open their minds, to challenge their views. To challenge their views on what they think is possible. For a start, they need to know that they can hear from Buddha Shakyamuni and from any Buddha from any time and space. If they have that belief, they hold that belief, if they test that belief, they'll see that what I say is true. But they won't believe it until they experience it for themselves, and I understand that, completely understand that. Piece of my heart is always going to be in Tibet. A piece of my heart has always been in Tibet. Tochichi. Tochichi. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.